during the first round on April 24th. The Fans Draft Party. 96 HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station. What's trending?
What's Trending is presented by Baker University, where graduates earn higher salaries and land jobs faster than any other university in Kansas. Apply today at bakeru.edu. We start with the Royals. We're going to talk a lot more about what happened last night. What a wild game.
It was
teetering towards being the worst loss of the season until it wasn't. Obviously, we're going to talk about some of the things that occurred there, but the Royals are back at it tonight at Kauffman Stadium. 6:40 first pitch again. Michael Lorenzen gets the nod as the Royals try to win their third straight game. Vern's on deck show, 5:30 tonight on 96.5 The Fan.
Called a winning streak, so try to get one of those going again. Obviously, what we're talking about is like if they could go through a stretch of games here, I think you might be able to get somewhere as far as getting back towards 500. The first, I think, of the Royals' current goals, that and getting the offense back on track.
No doubt.
Next up on What's Trending, the Steelers, Browns, and maybe possibly the Vikings, according to Diana Rossini, are involved in trade conversations at some level for the Falcons' backup quarterback, Kirk Cousins. How serious those conversations are, not really firm, but that some of those teams have at least kicked those things around. Makes sense. Those are the teams that were in play for Aaron Rodgers at some point, and so still looking for some upgrade in the quarterback play. Still doesn't really make sense a lot to me that Kirk Cousins would stay in Atlanta. I kind of expect him to get traded sometime between today and tomorrow.
Elsewhere, NBA postseason continued last night. The Pacers now have a 2-game-to-none lead over the Bucks with a 123-115 win. Same with the Thunder, a 118-99 win over Memphis, so they're up 2-0. We got a tie series involving the Lakers and Timberwolves as the Lakers came back in strong fashion after losing Game 1 to even up the series. Tonight, we got 3 games on the docket. Magic and Celtics, Boston up 1-0. Cleveland and Heat, Cleveland Cavaliers are up 1-0. And then the Warriors Rockets, Golden State up 1-0. That's the late game tonight as the NBA postseason is in full swing.
Yeah, look, at least finally getting some better games. Evened up a series last night.
Yes.
Luka played really well again last night. Next up on What's Trending, James Cook did not report to voluntary. I want to report voluntary workouts for the Buffalo Bills amidst his contract negotiation with Buffalo. He's reportedly want to be paid like one of the top running backs in the league. Running backs, if there is a position that I will allow almost an unlimited amount of holdout to, it's running back. They may only ever get one chance at getting paid. So if running backs are being paid around you, get your check. I can't put it any other way. Hold out as long as you can. And as you've pointed out before, you really only can hold out a little bit as a rookie. You can't hold out as all as a veteran. So not easily. You got to pay up a bunch of money in what Chris Jones did. But like as a rookie, at least you still have some leeway.
Also on What's Trending, we just heard Patrick Mahomes speak here on 96.5 The Fan. Just a couple things. I think it was very evident throughout that even short Zoom call that their goal, and it sounds easy, right? Their goal is to get the explosive passing game back in this offense. They recognize it. Whether that'll impact how they draft, we'll see, right? But that is clearly the message as their Camp Pat stuff is going on down in Texas. He also was asked about Rashee Rice, just how does he look, right? He's coming off the injury. Mahomes said the expectations are high. He looks really good. Not a whole lot out of the media availability from Mahomes. Also did say the haircut was basically, it was time. He's like, I can't believe you guys let me keep that hairstyle last year.
What am I? Yeah, I got any kind of clout. Pat, it's time.
Could you imagine you would have been in the locker room? Hey, Pat, there's a lot of people that think it might be time for you to get rid of the haircut. What
That's
are you
what
doing?
I said. Hey, man, hair's not looking good. I'm tied it up. Go with a clean fade or something. No chance.
Yeah.
No chance. Teammate, fine. But that
maybe his teammate said something. Who knows? He said it was time, though. He was superstitious. He was winning rings.
He said either we're winning 3 in a row or we're losing the Super Bowl, and I'm getting rid of it.
He didn't want to change it after winning a second ring. That'd be a bad decision.
I kind of agree with that. I appreciate his commitment to the
There you go.
Next up on What's Trending, don't forget our Cody Gold road trip Saturday, May 3rd. We are bordering on rounding up by 2 people maybe. I think 140 total people will be down there to watch Jack Caglione play Saturday, May 3rd at Hammonds Field. Tickets available at 965thefan.com. They're $10 each. If you want to come join us, we're going to meet up at Harbell's ahead of time, 3:30 to 5 as well. Probably find ourselves out at some local establishment, I'm sure after the game, but at least an organized activity, 3:30 to 5. That's for those of you who have pre-ordered a shirt. We'll have a chance to pick them up there at Harbell's. Looking forward to it. Saturday,
Yeah.
May 3rd, 140 people. Got to be a crowd down there.
We'll end up
Let's get rowdy.
well above 150 people will end up making their way down to Springfield with us. Cannot wait for that. Weather forecast this far out, looking good, looking like 72 degrees in Springfield. So hopefully that holds as well. That is, as you said, what's trending. Don't forget, though, here on a Wednesday, you're looking for something to eat. You're looking in the lunch hour. It is perfect time to visit our Wednesday lunch partner here on Cody and Gold, our friends over at Jefferson's. They also have a brand new happy hour that's here to save you some money. 7 days a week, you can enjoy half off appetizers and half off your bar tab, whether it's Jefferson's up north, North KC, or Jefferson's out in Lenexa. Half off your bar tab at both locations. Not to mention Mondays are all-day happy hour as well. They have the same great deals during their reverse happy hour. 7 days a week. Jefferson's, wings, burgers, oysters.
Half off those corn nuggets for you.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Gotta get the nugs.
You can get yourself all taken care of. You'll be good to go. Half off your corn nuggets. Get yourself some wings. I told you, I've really settled into, just in general in food, a sweet spicy combo might be my favorite way to consume food. So like
I still like the honey
get
barbecue,
mango
man.
habanero. Somebody I went to a friend's house and they were watching WrestleMania on Saturday. One of the people who came there, because it was a smaller group, brought like a variety sample of chips. One of them that I hadn't had was that same, right? Where you get the like spicy, but it's not, it was cheddar jalapeno flavored Cheetos. I thought, this is a good Cheeto. Hadn't had it. Very much enjoyed it. Either way, so if you're looking for it, mango habanero would be my suggestion over at Jefferson's. But you can get all kinds of stuff. Boneless, bone-in. Alex and I are not judgmental on that. I don't care if you call it a bona fide chicken nugget. Sometimes it's just easier.
Sometimes it is, yeah. I mean, I'll be honest. Look, if you're on a first date, you may not want to make a mess and be a pig, while you're eating. Maybe you just go simple with
wings on a first date.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Wild choice of location.
You can't do it.
But Jefferson's might be the place I'd make the exception for you.
You can get the oysters.
They do say it's an aphrodisiac. So what?
That's true. No,
They do say that.
Nothing you said is inaccurate.
You're saying you're on a date? You're talking about eating oysters? What was it when they were in the trash of the day where that woman ordered like 70 of them?
Yes, on a date.
Like an egregious amount of them. And I like oysters, but like an egregious amount.
One date ever. It wasn't even a date, I would call it. Where it turned out where we had oysters. But I had it one time. That's it. Never again. Not a big oyster. I'll stick with the wings, man. The wings are great. I'll stick with that. But if you want your oyster fix as well, I just can't do the oysters anywhere.
Yeah, you said you tried. You gave them a shot.
I don't think
More for us over at Jefferson.
There should be a rule of seafood that you don't. If you're not on the coast, if you're landlocked, you shouldn't be getting seafood.
Ever? What?
Ever. There's
Okay, no. In today's day and age,
That's
it's
an
way
awful
easy
take.
to bring it. You can bring in stuff that's fresh very quickly.
It's not coming
Drew.
via
Come on now.
And I love
Pony
it.
Express, dude. This isn't 1880.
And
I
I
get
love
fresh seafood in
You
Kansas
can
City.
get, you can get fresh
salmon.
seafood overnighted in from this morning by this evening.
I love a good salmon, but it's a coastal thing. You got
That's
to be
nuts.
on the coast.
I'm not saying it's not better on the
you
coast.
know that it's because look, let's be honest. They could say that it's from the coast. You have no idea where it actually is coming from.
They didn't get it from the Missouri River, dude. They don't have salmon there. They didn't shuck the oysters up at Smithville Lake. Like they came from the ocean. What do you mean? They're saying like it's not fresh and it's lying to me?
I think it hits
I think
different
NFC
when
from
you're.
Kansas City.
It hits different if you're on a coast somewhere. Like if you're,
I don't disagree that
if you're in New Orleans or if you're in Destin or if you're in North Carolina.
No, I get the
Seafood
ambiance
hits
that you're
different.
talking about, but the actual food you can get from literally there's truly spaces you can get stuff from this morning brought in by this evening. Now it's very expensive, or the next day, I should say. Very expensive.
We used to place at Webster House, they used to place their fish order on Wednesday and it would come in Thursday morning.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's when it came in. So I mean, I guess it wasn't like the guy it wasn't Popeye. He didn't like put it into the water, reel it in directly into his mouth to eat the fish like he's Bluto, but like the fish was pretty fresh. You're safe to eat it.
Would you eat a steak in New York City, Drew? How do they get the fresh Midwestern beef so quickly?
He's making it sound like I took like the cattle prod to the and then I just like carved it off the side and then ate that thing there.
We can get plenty of top level food brought in, man.
All right.
Someone from the 930 said Cody is now the only person on this show allowed to talk food. Who's giving you a hard time for being picky. But like you're not liking oysters. Lots of people don't like oysters. I do, and you should get them at Jefferson's.
You should. You should definitely either get that, wings, burgers, you name it. That is the place to be. All right. The Royals last night, what a weird game, the way it turned out to be, right? You had a dominant pitching outing from Chris Bubich, who was once again awesome, gave you 7 innings. The offense still wasn't there. It's 1-0. You get an insurance run. Drew Waters has a career night at the plate, a double shy of the cycle. Carlos Estevez, who has been very, very good for them, had his worst outing of the season. 3 walks, just had zero control after getting the first 2 outs. Goes to extra innings. Probably should have ended in the bottom of the 10th. Instead, it goes to the 11th, and Freddie Fermin saves the day twice. He picks off a runner at third in the top half, and then he ends up with what was the walk-off single to win the game in the bottom of the 11th inning. That game was, let's be honest, bad baseball at times. Holy cow.
It was great baseball by Chris Bubich for a while. The guy that they were hitting against had a career like 5.5 ERA. But yeah, the last 3 innings were a mess. The Royals were walking every hitter. The Rockies couldn't move a guy over. Nobody could lay down there were like multiple unsuccessful bunt attempts. Michael got picked off a second. Last night's game, I really look in like 2 big pictures. One is the easy picture. Chris Bubich is pitching lights out. He's pitching like a guy who I believe was a compensatory first-round pick, who was a part of a second-round pick. He was right a part of that same grouping of guys who all came up together, who looked like they should be a star, and now they're a star. So like, okay, cool. We're good there, makes sense. Outside of that, feels comfortable. That's the first part of it. The second part of the game is Estevez had a miserable night.
Yeah.
But like everybody, they like caught a cold in the 9th inning with 2 outs, mind you, and just decided everyone was going to walk everyone. Estevez watched three guys. Didn't Lynch walk 2? Like everyone was walking.
There was a
guys
stretch where they had, in 2 innings, it was a 5 walks and a 2-inning stretch, something like that.
So like, yeah, it was just out of control and the game got out of control. I'll give them, like a lot of times, I'll give the Royals credit for not letting it become an absolute gut punch of a loss, because the runs in the 10th and the 11th, yeah, they didn't get a run in the 10th, but they did a better job with the guy on second getting their guy home. In the 9th, it would have been easy to lay down and die. Okay? It'd have been really, you didn't have a runner on second. You were down a run. You still needed Michael Garcia to come through for you. You still needed a just barely, but deep enough sac fly from Michael Massey to get the run. Sure, Michael got picked off, but you needed people to come through for you to win the game. I'll just wash away. I don't even care. Estevez had a bad night. The end. Like, I'm not even hung up on it.
I'm not worried about him. It's let's see how he continues to pitch. There has been plenty of outings this year that have equated to 5 saves and a victory as well. Out of the 10 wins the Royals have, he has a win and 5 saves. Jumping ship after one really, really bad night at the office, I think, is way overreaction to what Carlos did. Let's see what he continues to look like. If he has another bad outing or so, then yeah, we can have a conversation. But acting like you got to have a 0.0 ERA or be perfect, or you got to strike out the side, or it's got to be 1, 2, 3 every single time.
You're never allowed to have a bad outing. As a starter, we forgive it.
Yeah, I would like Mariano Rivera as my closer as well, but that doesn't exist. So let's relax a little bit on worrying about Carlos Estevez after a really, really bad outing yesterday. Thank goodness they were able to get the win, as you said, and kind of recover from it. Hopefully, again, it can build on this. Would you rather win while you're trying to figure things out offensively? Of course. And nothing has changed offensively. They have the same problems that they had 24 hours ago, 72 hours ago. Drew Waters is a positive. Let's see if he can keep it up. But still, we've said it over and over. Vinny Pasquantino, Salvador Perez, Jonathan India. When are those 3 going to get going? When's that going to happen? And that'll still be the biggest thing to shift your feeling about this team if you think that they're obviously not going to figure it out. That has to be something that they do. In the meantime, go beat up on some bad teams. It still counts as a win, by the way. It is okay. Yep. It is okay to get wins and squeak by with wins against the Rockies. They don't have to win 10-0, okay? That counts the same.
I'd like them to win 10-0.
That would be nice. It would show that the offense is waking up. I would love that today, by the way, with Michael Lorenzen on the mound, if they could put up 10
Should I be
runs.
betting the under? I think I'm making the selection for Vern tonight. The Royals under is hitting at about a 70% clip. I don't know.
Stick with it, or are you going to fade?
I mean, at this rate, there's no indication that they're getting ready to snap out offensively. We'll see. I might just go with one of the Royals hitters to maybe snap out of it. The key to last night is like the other part is like I can understand that when Vinny said because like Vinny got asked in pregame, and this is and they walked him late in the game because I think he would have gotten the sac fly to win it. And they weren't going to risk that, so they let Freddie Fermin beat him. But, he spoke before the game pretty candidly.
I've sucked. There's no hiding from that.
I don't think that he's not trying to, as he said, hide from it on that end. But at the very least, if on the games, India, Vinny, and Salvi are going to be non-contributors, which they were again last night. Okay, somebody else step up. We carried your ass for 162 games last year, and we're cold to start this year. Who's got it for us? Last night, it was Drew Waters and Freddie Fermin, and in the ninth inning, Michael Garcia. So, get other contributors. That was the single best game Drew Waters has played as a member of the Kansas City Royals.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think it's his best game in his big league career.
Probably. Without even looking, probably.
I think that's exactly what it was for him. And Freddie Fermin, he's a fan favorite going back to last year, how important he was for this team. I don't know what Mickey Moniak was doing on third. All I know is a hell of a throw from Freddie Fermin.
Great catch by Michael.
Great catch, and they got him out by a mile. I understand they reviewed it, but you might as well review it at that point. That potentially saved the game for them in that moment, and he comes up with the walk-off hit as well. That was really, really impressive. And all you can hope now is while they're trying to get this offense figured out, they can continue to get the great starting pitching, which is going to give them a chance to win every single game.
Yeah, and that's what it matters. Last night, Chris Bubich game. Otherwise, the game gets lost. And also, if the bullpen isn't really good, they also lose that game because even after Carlos Estevez didn't give a chance, they had to pitch the 8th scoreless. Estevez blew it in the 9th. They still win. And this is with the runner starting on second base. Mm-hmm. Scoreless in the 10th and the 11th. So, their pitching staff is what drives this team. It's what will always drive this team and did so successfully, I'll say, there and really, really, really well and effectively. So, great. If that's going to be the case, then they're okay. And, they got to find some offense. Tonight, I'm assuming they're a favorite again without looking. I'm going to assume that they're, a favorite again to win against the Rockies tonight. They were minus 200 last
based
night.
Off their opponent, yes, I would say so. The Rockies have 4 wins on the season.
It is Lorenzen, so I guess I would wonder. Although their starting pitcher tonight, Marquez? What do we think?
Marquez?
Which one?
He's got an 8 ERA, though. I'm not sure which one.
Herman Marquez.
All right, well, the name is Marquez, by the way.
I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
We'll figure out which one it is to go there. He's got an 8.27 ERA. He had a 6.75 ERA. He only played one game last year. He
minus 198. Okay.
I'm supposed to take the over tonight.
8.5
runs. You know what? That's going to be my bet.
Okay.
Spoiler for Vern's pregame later.
Right.
I'm taking over 8.5. I'm feeling like being an optimist. I don't think I'm allowed to go on and call someone an idiot on the air earlier today for their text line takes. That's a stupid take, and you're a stupid person. And not stand behind the Royals, and not stand behind them today. I'm heavily leaning towards now taking the over 8.5 runs.
We're going to talk some more Royals baseball in 10 minutes. Josh Vernier, our Royals insider, is going to join us. And don't forget, in about 40 minutes in the 1 o'clock hour, Jay Binkley, our draft insider,
He has arrived. He's in the building.
30 hours till the draft. He's going to
40 minutes early,
and he's going to join us in the 1 o'clock hour to talk draft, baby. Oh yeah.
Binkley doesn't mess around.
Well, if you remember last week, him and I were in here having an hour-long discussion before he even came on.
Yes, I do recall.
He's in the studio.
I do recall.
He's not here. He's not here now.
He's locked in.
Yeah,
he's locked in, man.
He's getting prepped.
This is it. The final countdown for him.
What do you do to get locked in? You just rewatch the Senior Bowl or what's that?
I'm looking at he's across the way in the bullpen. I'm looking at his computer screen. Looks like he's got a spreadsheet pulled up. I'm not even kidding. He's got a spreadsheet pulled up. He's doing some final crunching. Final mock draft is already out, but he's got a spreadsheet pulled up, color coded. I can see it from here.
Love it.
Okay.
Thinking of the draft, there's a little bit of movement, at least in where somebody might be going in the top 5. Yes, top 5. Guess who's now even money in multiple books to go top 5? Ashton Genty, running back out of Boise State.
Okay.
Now, for that to happen, a trade might need to happen.
The Jags have to take him at 4.
Right. The last team that traded up for a running back was the Chargers. The last time that happened was 2015. It was the Chargers when they gave up a 4th and a 5th round pick to move up 2 spots to grab Melvin Gordon. Okay, that was the last time a running back was picked in the first round due to a trade. Yep, a trade up.
Do you remember him being like a move up in the draft to
Chief
go get guy?
Chief Super Bowl champion, baby.
Yeah, you know what? Actually, kudos to Melvin Gordon. This is the part where I don't think that this is why you and I both I think his for him to go higher than 6.5, which was his over under there for a while over there on the sports.
Yeah, I don't know,
the juice
man.
is kind of changing a little bit. Here's why. There are maybe 4 elite level talents in the NFL draft this year. And one is Ashton Genty. The rest are dudes. They might turn into elite level players, I don't know. But his elite level draft prospects, there's 4 or 5 gold. And if they're only 4 or 5 and one is there, for the same argument I made this, I can't remember who it was for. I think it was either the Patriots or I was talking about one of the other teams. Trevor Lawrence has not come anywhere close to living up to the hype of the player that he is. And while I would say the Jaguars as a team do not have a great history of taking high-round running backs, see Etienne, see Leonard Fournette. I'm not saying Leonard Fournette had a bad career.
Yeah.
They should not take him 4th overall.
Cody, look at the potential landing
I don't know,
spots.
maybe help him out right away.
You have the Jags at 5, could go there. Raiders at 6. I mean, if you buy the Pete Carroll crap, it seems like they love Ashton Genty. I don't think the Jets are taking him at 7. That's off the board. Breece Hall's already there. Carolina at 8.
He's definitely not going any lower than 10, I think.
They just drafted Jonathan Brooks last year, or whatever. I doubt that. The Saints at 9, I would be really surprised. The Bears at 10. He's not going past the Bears. So, to what you were saying. So, at latest, it's 10. I think he goes 5 or 6. I think he's going no later than the 6th overall pick to the Las Vegas Raiders.
I could make an argument for 4. I don't think Vrabel would do it. That seems like, other than he had Derrick Henry, and he kind of remembers what that was like.
It depends. Does Travis Hunter not go 2 and he's there at 4? Well, then obviously the Patriots are taking Travis Hunter at 4.
If it goes Hunter Carter, which I still think it will, 1, 2, 3, Ward, Hunter, Carter, why is Genty at 4 to the Patriots crazy? They got a young quarterback who needs players. There's no wide receiver to take it for to help out Drake May. He remembers Derrick Henry and what that was like in Tennessee and how much that helped Ryan Tannehill. There are a lot of things that make sense in taking. What's the scariest fit that makes sense? Chicago? Like, let's say in the top 10, what's the, oh boy, that's going to work.
Not that I'm fearful of Geno Smith of the Raiders, but, I don't think you want a player like that in your division. But it's still a running back. But if he goes to the Bears, they're in the NFC. What do I care?
Sure. You're going to see him in the Super Bowl.
I think that'd be for Ben Johnson, though, and what he revamped the O-line. He's got a year 2 Caleb Williams, fresh start with a brand new head coach. They have Roma Dunze, who I think will be a lot better this year, with DJ Moore, and then you add Ashton Genty. Offensively, I think they're going to be fun to watch. Defensively, we'll see what the Chicago Bears can be. But offensively, Ashton Genty there would be a ton of fun. I just don't know if he makes it there. Could there be a team that tries to trade in front of the Chicago Bears? You asked about New England. Their current backfield is Ramondre Stevenson and Antonio Gibson. It's not like, I know they like Ramondre, but
it's the O-line situation, though.
Yeah, but Ramondre and
they're going to
Genty,
draft what's his name? Mason.
Mason Graham?
No.
Or not Mason Graham.
Will Campbell.
Thank you. Yes.
The offensive tackle. That's probably the most sense.
Mason Graham has been mocked to the Jaguars. Every single mock draft has, almost all of them, since mock draft started coming out, have Mason Graham going to the Jags at 5. The dude's really good.
All right, coming up next, we'll get back to the Royals with our Royals insider, Josh Vernier. We'll ask him about the craziness of last night and what he thinks could happen the rest of this series against the Rockies.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
What's up, guys? It's Drew. Could you benefit a little extra in the bedroom? We all could. If you're like my neighbors, they're taking advantage of the time that they have extra. Blue Chew can help with that. Your partner wants you to do whatever it takes to make your sex life better, and Blue Chew is your secret weapon for the bedroom or wherever you decide to get it on. The NBA and NHL playoffs are going on. These guys train every single day to perform at their best when it matters most. What if you could perform when it matters most, but you didn't have to train at all whatsoever? I'm talking about Blue Chew. They're an online prescription service. No visits to the doctor's office, no awkward conversations, and no waiting in line at the pharmacy. It ships right to your door in a discreet package, and their licensed medical providers, they work with you to find the right ingredient and strength for your prescription. If you don't like swallowing pills, that's no problem because Blue Chew's tablets are chewable. If you could benefit from extra confidence when it's time to perform, visit BlueChew.com and get your first month free when you use our promo code KFNZ at checkout. You just pay $5 in shipping. That's BlueChew.com, promo code KFNZ to receive your first month free. Then you'll be ready to chew it and do it.
At CertaPro Painters, we know that a happy place comes in many colors, like ones that inspire a sense of wonder, or a new flavor that makes life just a little bit sweeter, or one to celebrate those moments that lift you to new heights. We can reawaken any space to make your happy place your home. CertaPro Painters. That's painting happy. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Contractor license and registration information is available at CertaPro.com.
Need to sell your house in Kansas City but not sure where to start? Selling a home can feel overwhelming, especially if you're facing foreclosure, a divorce, an inherited property you don't want, or just need to move quickly. But you don't have to figure it out alone. Rex Buys KC is here to help. As a local home buyer, I understand the Kansas City market inside and out. My family and I live right here, so I know the neighborhoods, the trends, and the challenges homeowners face. That's why I take a consultative approach, helping you explore your options and find the best path forward. We buy houses in any condition, no need for repairs, no agent commissions, and no hidden fees. You'll receive a fair cash offer with a closing timeline that works for you. Whether that's in as little as 7 days or at your own pace, just a simple, hassle-free process designed around your needs. If you're ready to talk through your options, call me today at 816-330-6000 or visit rexbuyskc.com. Let's find the right solution for you. Rex Buys KC. Local, fair, and focused on you.
And Doug. Quickly, Moo. We don't have much time. This Liberty ad is already almost over. We only have a few precious seconds to remind people to customize their car insurance and save hundreds with Liberty Mutual. Okay. Well, I guess we had more time than I thought.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Savings vary. Underwritten by Liberty Mutual Insurance Company and affiliates. Excludes Massachusetts.
Are you prepared for the change in seasons? Take advantage of Hamilton Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Router's $69 seasonal HVAC tune-up deal to help prevent costly breakdowns and ensure your heating or cooling system is running at peak efficiency. Over 40 years experience and more than 8,000 five-star reviews are great reasons to trust Hamilton. Our licensed technicians and exceptional service guarantee will give you peace of mind. Visit callhamilton.com for detailed terms and conditions. License number 2025-11121.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6812. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 five-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6812. That's 800-575-6812. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
You know what's better than a limited time deal? An unlimited time deal. That's why the Wendy's $5 Biggie Bag with a Junior Bacon Cheeseburger, 4-piece nugs, Junior Hot and Crispy Fries, and small soft drink is available all the time. Because the best time for fresh, never frozen beef and Applewood smoked bacon is all the time. Duh. I feel like I'm repeating myself a lot. For the best deal of all time, gotta be Wendy's.
Unlimited time does not mean forever. U.S. price and participation may vary. Prices may be higher in Alaska, Hawaii, and California and via third-party delivery. Fresh beef available in the contiguous U.S., Alaska, and Canada.
For more than half a century, contractors and trade professionals have relied on WeatherGuard for heavy-duty truck and van storage equipment. Not just to protect their tools, but to protect their professional reputations. Whether it's inside or outside of work vehicles, a WeatherGuard badge means pros can trust that their hard-earned name is in good hands. Since 1968 and every day since, WeatherGuard has been protecting anything it takes to build a professional reputation. WeatherGuard, established in 1968, proven every day. WeatherGuard.com.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
We'll get to the random question of the day here in about 12 minutes or so. It's Cody and Gold, Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, Drew Nixon with you. Thanks for hanging out with us here on 96.5 The Fan. We'll talk some draft in a half hour with our guy Jay Binkley. As we mentioned, he is already in the building. Looking at spreadsheets. Some people said don't buy it. They don't think he's looking at draft stuff. They think it's spreadsheets about chew, and different types of dip and things like that. But I don't know. All I know, he's got a spreadsheet up. Spreadsheet up. Rob's over there talking to him now.
Yeah, like a draft party food spreadsheet.
Mm-hmm.
That's important too.
Very, very important. Of course,
What is
we'll be
your
at the
draft
landing. Well, we're going to be at the Landing in Liberty,
Oh,
so
that's right.
I might go.
I was about to say Wings from Jefferson's,
I
our
might
official
be-
lunch partner on Wednesday, would not be the worst choice,
Yeah, tomorrow night we will be at the Landing, though. So I don't know. Maybe some chicken fingers. I don't know. A burger. Figure out something.
Lots of choices. Lots of choices.
All right, let's talk some Royals baseball. Our guy Josh Vernier, of course, is on deck show tonight. Coming up at 5:30, Game 2, Royals-Rockies from Kauffman Stadium, right here on 96.5 The Fan. Last night, Vern, what a wild game. It was teetering towards being one of the ugliest losses in a while for the Royals.
Oh, it without question would have been the worst loss of the season. Shoot, man, when it was lining up like it was going to be a 1-0 victory, a 2-0 victory, I was still expecting a somewhat somber post-game show because I know Royals fans were hoping that the Rockies would be taken behind some sort of a woodshed and put in their place. But no, I was listening earlier. I think you guys put it pretty well. Gold, I think you said it. Yeah, it looked like two bad teams playing some bad baseball for quite a while last night with Chris Bubic continuing to impress, but an offense and defense and base running that's just – 24 games into the season, I think we've seen maybe two well-rounded ball games. You know, the win on Sunday, the win yesterday, they weren't clean, they weren't pretty, they weren't easy, they were kind of grimy, you know, for as much as, hey, good moments here. Michael, Bobby each steal a base. Well, Michael's getting picked off of second base. Great performance out of the bullpen again from Daniel Lynch and Lucas Erceg, but then you have the whole Carlos Estevez issue. Some great moments offensively and some disappointing. Sure, very happy with Freddie Fermin, very happy with Drew Waters, but what has plagued this team offensively, and that's, of course, Vinny, Bobby, Salvi, in key situations, India and Massey, those issues continue to present themselves. So, again, we're yet to hear what we all fell in love with last summer with this team. We're still waiting for the sophomore album to sound or look anything like what we fell in love with last year.
It's like, while they figure that out, I don't care if they win every game 2-1 against the Rockies, right? Like, just win is probably the part that I'm most concerned with right now. Bubic, I mean, like, very rarely, in my opinion, do you trade away the third best starter on your team from the year before and not miss him. Like, to this point, Chris Bubic has made it so it doesn't matter.
Cody, and the return hasn't been good.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, Jonathan India has been below average. I'm not going to say that he's been bad, but he hasn't been good. To think that isn't flooding the text line right now. And you know, Brady Singer's 3-0 with a 3.8 ERA in Cincinnati. Nobody brings it up because of how well Chris Bubic has done, where if you wanted to, you could say, hey, JJ, your flawless record right now, it looks like it might be taking an L early on, but still, people want Estevez out, right? Cody, I heard you call someone an idiot and stupid earlier in the show.
Sorry.
Yeah, people are losing their minds, but no one going after that trade. No, it's a great point.
Like, the way I view it, and like with Estevez, is like the way I view it is like the Guardians. I look at the teams that I remember being good pretty much a majority of my life. The Guardians' best reliever for a number of years might have either been Cody Allen or other, and they didn't use those in just the ninth inning. Having a closer is one thing. That doesn't mean it's your best reliever. I like Erceg in a million different spots. I like Estevez in the ninth.
Right,
I don't think that those things have to be mutually exclusive.
Well, and listen, if Estevez sucks, they're not going to put him out there in the ninth inning, but his contract gives him the ninth inning. Also, Erceg's ability to be malleable throughout the course of a game allows him to be that fireman. And the reason why the fan base loves Lucas Erceg is because he was a part of that debut album, and the best part of it, right after the trade deadline, when you're like, oh my God, we're going to the playoffs. We finally have someone coming out of the bullpen. He's basically Wade Davis. Yeah, so people love Lucas Erceg. Estevez is the new guy that's only been a part of this disappointing sophomore album, so of course they want him out.
The way I view it, and I guess just out of curiosity, has Lynch officially made himself the third most reliable guy? Are they going to go to him third or fourth now?
Well, it's hard to argue. They need Zerpa. I mean, unless you think that this rotation is going to be one of the five best in Major League Baseball, and you know what? If they want to exceed what they did last season, forget that. They have to have Zerpa. Zerpa needs to be a powerful threat out of that bullpen. But yeah, without question, Daniel Lynch right now, in the absence of Hunter Harvey, is the third most reliable reliever in that bullpen, and someone that you can use on back-to-back days. We've seen that, and we've seen him. I'm not going to say he's Lucas Erceg, but he's certainly okay with whatever role you need me in. A lot like Chris Bubic, man. They're just so much more, mature, obviously, coming out of that 2018 draft, but they're just so cool and confident. They seem carefree out there where, man, back in the day, it was so clear, so easy to read Daniel Lynch and how he's performing. You could see Chris Bubic huffing and puffing out there on the mound. And listen, I know they're having success, so it's easy to look cool out there, but you can just see that each one of these guys has almost half a decade of big league baseball, or at least professional baseball experience under their belt.
We're talking to Josh Vernier, our Royals insider. Again, his On Deck show tonight, 5:30, as the Royals go for Game 2 against the Rockies. We were looking at the 25-game stretch now. I guess it's a 24-game stretch that they're about to embark on, and there's only one team currently with a winning record. The Boston Red Sox are going to face. It feels like if this offense is going to get going, and I'm with you, I believe it will at some point. If it's going to happen, though, it feels like this is the stretch here to get things figured out.
Yeah, you would hope so, but listen, the kid that you're going to face, the Royals are going to face tomorrow, Chase Dollander, one of the top 100 prospects. You'd like to think you could get right off of him, or the former All-Star Marquez that you're going to face tonight, who's not having the best start to the season. Yeah, you would love to think that, but through 24 games, I have nothing to base that hope off of. I'm still relying on Salvi's baseball reference page and Vinny's track record and Bobby's, as we saw last year, ability to come up clutch in the big moments. I'm going to rely on what Jonathan India's done in his career. Michael Massey maybe is a little bit more faith than it is evidence. You hope that they get started soon because, again, if this continues, if Vinny continues to hit 200 with runners in scoring position, if Salvi and Bobby are below 200 with runners in scoring position, this team's going nowhere. We can't really talk about how deep can this team get into October. We really can't even talk about who this team is, what this team is, until we see those four bats at the top at least get back to a league average output offensively. And then we'll see, oh, wow, what a difference Maikel Garcia is making. Wow, Drew Waters is really helping to take this team to another level. But man, they just need to get back to the baseline, right? They just need to get back to not even what they were doing last year. They just need to get back to being a decent offense, not one of the three worst in the sport.
Which ranking, I guess, in concern order? Is Salvi 1, India 2, Vinny 3? Like, how would you rank them 1 through 3 in most concerning start? They're all bad or having bad starts to the season. Which one is, I guess, the most worrisome?
Oh, boy. I guess I'll say Jonathan India because, he adds a lot of value certainly in the clubhouse and in the dugout, but I think defensively at best he's league average, wherever you want to put him, second, third, left field. So he needs to produce offensively. And again, this is the big addition from last offseason. You parted with Brady Singer to add this guy, to be on base in front of Bobby Witt Jr. I mean, how many times did we hear the stat of how often Bob came to the dish without someone on base? Well, it's still happening, and now they're just walking Bob because the two guys hitting behind him aren't hitting either. So I would say Jonathan India 1. I guess I'll say Salvi 2 just because of his age. Yes, the numbers say he's one of the 5 most unlucky hitters in Major League Baseball. Take with that what you will. I want to say Vinny's number 2 because the strikeouts are very puzzling. Vinny struck out 3 times on Sunday, just the 4th game in his career. He's had 3 punch-outs. His strikeout percentage is inching towards 20%. This is a guy that as a rookie was at 11%. Never been higher than 13. He's at 20 right now. But with Vinny, I'm thinking it's the 2 aspects of hitting are not aligned, the mental and the physical right now. I think he'll get it figured out. He's younger than Salvi, so I'll put Vinny in that 3 spot.
What about down in the minors? How impressed were you with what Cags did against Clayton Kershaw last night? How much stock do you put in that?
Yeah, well, I don't know. Listen, I don't know how good Clayton Kershaw is, but if I'm Jack Caglione, I just took one of the 5 greatest lefties. I squared him up twice. So what that does for the confidence of Jack Caglione, I would like to think, is immeasurable. Does that mean that he could come up here and dominate right now? Probably not. If you want to bring up the Nick Kurtz kid that was just called up by the Oakland A's, right? 2 picks before Jack Caglione, ranked 15 spots lower than Cags and MLB's top 100 prospects. The only difference there, Kurtz has already dominated Double-A, and this year he was dominating Triple-A. Cags is not, he's performing well, not dominating. A pretty interesting moment yesterday in the dugout. Jesse Newell of the Kansas City Star was asking JJ just a simple question to do some background, as the Star was at the game last night down there in Double-A. Vahir Gregorian was there, and Jesse asks, hey, what are you hoping to see out of Cags at Double-A? Just a generic, expecting a stock answer. It seemed to me as if JJ's sick of talking about Cags, so nice job, guys, yesterday by avoiding that question, because JJ kind of bit back with I want to see I want to see him hit a double. He's in Double-A right now, and that's where he's going to be.
Well, I'm
trying to make it to May 3rd.
In our expert evaluation, I think they should not do anything to call him up to AAA until at least May 4th. That's just my expert evaluation.
Well, what was so crazy about that is he says, I want to see him hit a double. So then he goes and hits a double off of one of the greatest lefties that the sport has ever seen. And then he takes him back up the middle for a nice squared up single. So listen, Jack's doing everything that you would hope he would do, right? I mean, he's already had an 0 for 15 and come out of it. So he's checking a lot of boxes in the first month.
I guess the way I view it is, look, we're definitely part of the blame here, and I get like the organization's always wanting to be protective.
This has never happened, Cody. This has never happened where you have a team with playoff expectations in the big leagues and one of the top prospects in baseball in the minor leagues. This is something the Royals should celebrate.
For those who want to know, we got 140 people or so right now heading down to Springfield to watch Cags play ball. So if you want more information, 965thefan.com. If you want to get tickets and come join us, we got a big crowd coming that way. I definitely like the Kershaw thing. I understand he's in a rehab start and he's not.
He's 37, yeah.
But, he had 2.5 ERA 2 years ago. So, he's still Clayton Kershaw in my mind. And it's like the lefty part. And I think you remember when we first asked JJ about him, Vern, he made the very obvious point, which I think is actually more important. He said, it's not if he's getting hits, it's who he's getting hits off of. And it's like, okay, but if that's the standard, then you got to take big league picture with, some value.
Right, and just the mental side of the game that Clayton Kershaw possesses, right? We could talk about, he's banged up, and he's, I don't believe even eligible to come off with a 60-day until the end of May, so it's still a long way before Kershaw is big league ready, but, Bartolo Colon, certain veterans, man, I don't care how old you are, and when you're the vintage and the caliber of Clayton Kershaw, man, you can just outthink a lot of Double-A hitters with your C- stuff. So for him, being unable to not only fool Jack Caglione or get him out, but Cags squared both of those things up. So seeing the ball well from a guy that is as deceptive as any lefty we've seen in a long time.
Yeah, he definitely has got to see that dominant Springfield Cardinal pitching staff first before they can make a decision. That has to happen.
It's quite the lineup. That Peyton Wilson's been hitting leadoff. He has a hit in every single game so far this season. I think it's a 15-game hitting streak. You got Gavin Cross. I saw Javier Vaz.
He just got healthy or whatever,
Yeah, you got a pretty nice group. That's going to be a fun time.
That's the best offense maybe in the entire Texas League. I mean, for sure the Texas League, but maybe Double-A. It's one of the better ones.
I mean, they dropped Carter Jensen down to the 5 spot. Carter Jensen's a top 80 prospect in the sport. Yeah, that's a very deep lineup.
Vern, just last question, then we'll let you get out of here. As the Royals continue to kind of look for offensive help, when do you think is too early for them to make the next move in the outfield? If the offense continues to go this way, what do you think is the next move for the Royals if the offense keeps going this way?
Yeah, cutting Hunter Renfroe, giving him his pink slip and a bunch of money to hit the bricks. Call up a guy like John Rave. Shoot, man. I don't know what Renfroe brings to the team right now. Okay, clubhouse. Yeah, he can be a decent clubhouse guy. But he doesn't use his arm as a weapon anymore. He's throwing to third base when the play's at home. Don't know what's going on there. Offensively, obviously not getting it done. He's never really done much on the base paths. Yeah, listen, they're going to give him every opportunity. You would imagine they gave him that start last night at DH, even though Mark Canha, I don't know what Mark Canha has to do to get every day at bats. So that, to me, reflects a team that is saying, Hunter, come on, man. Here's your opportunity. You saw what we did with MJ. I know we have to pay you to leave, but we're not afraid to do that, especially if there is a better option. And defensively on the base paths and obviously offensively, it's hard to fight that John Rave is a better option. So, yeah, you would like to think, within a month, if Renfroe doesn't do something positive, he's on his way out.
Josh Vernier, our Royals insider, this evening, 5:30 on Deck Show. Appreciate it, man.
All right, thank you.
Good stuff from Vern, as always. He joins us each and every Wednesday, and you'll hear him this evening as the Royals get set to take on the Rockies right here on 96.5 The Fan.
Random question.
For you, Gold. For you, Drew, over the text line, 913-586-7965. Of course, the random question today is brought to you by Awaken 180 Weight Loss Results every week. And then receive free support for life online at awaken180weightloss.com. Question I have today relates to something you said 2 days ago.
Okay.
We were talking about hair. You were mentioning a trip to the barber. Somebody sent in a voicemail.
I heard. Thank you, by the way. Whoever sent it in, I didn't catch the gentleman's name on the voicemail.
This gentleman straight up said, get Rogaine, start now, never quit.
Yeah,
that was his exact suggestion.
He's like, you should just preemptively start doing it, even if it's not noticeable yet. I was like, okay. I thought about it.
He's saying it kept him alive for a long time. He stopped taking it during COVID, and it was all she wrote.
Yeah.
So I saw this as it related to like a social media question that was the same thing. So the thing I want today, I think it'll both help Alex and maybe he already has an answer for these for previous relationships. Question I have for you today is, what is your, let's call it unhinged piece of relationship advice? Is in the thing you think works in your relationship that you don't think everyone subscribes to? I know immediately someone's going to say, like, we sleep in separate rooms, always an option. One person had suggested, one of the first ones I saw was they set a calendar date once a month to air grievances. So, like,
they have a calendar date.
Yeah, like, hey, third Tuesday of the month.
You just know.
We're fighting.
Let's say
there's third
something
Tuesday of the month. I'll sit on it.
Yes,
but
I'm saying. So
fighting.
you know that there's something that is driving you crazy, and you're like, well, you wait till next Tuesday. I'm about to. That's wild. That's wild. Maybe healthy, actually.
I mean, in a lot of ways, you're limiting the fight numbers to a certain time period. Is that not such a bad thing, right?
That's interesting.
I heard that one, and I thought
I want to hear from both. You guys are the two that are married. So, Drew, I'll start with you. This is let's get it from people that are married for starters. Any advice?
I thought Drew was going to answer first.
I'm trying to find this cut because if this you said you know somebody. Or somebody texted in the grievances.
That was just something I had seen in relation to this question.
If they don't start it with this, then I don't know.
Seinfeld?
With the airing of grievances.
I don't know.
That's the only way that you can start that conversation. Like, that's how it has to start every single month. I think I have to think about it, actually.
You don't think you guys do anything out of the ordinary?
Not so much where it's unhinged, I guess, like to that. Because the only thing I keep on thinking of unhinged, and I don't think there's anything that we do is unhinged.
I will say, I am not like, and we don't fight very often, but like, I am not team like, let's not go to bed angry. Go to bed angry. Honestly, it's better sometimes. What are you going to try to hash this whole thing out at 11:30 at night?
You're just saying sleep on it. You're like, just sleep on it. In the morning, you won't be as upset.
I've been with my wife for 20 years. You're better off just like, maybe if you're still pissed off in the morning, probably time to have a conversation about it, right? I slept on this thing the entire night.
Probably depends on what the issue is, right? Like, is it truly a big deal or is it not? Everything seems like it's a big deal.
Go to bed angry. I actually think it would serve some of you because, like, I'm not saying leave the house. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But, like, sometimes trying to, like, fighting that thing out, that's nuts.
913-586-7965. Someone says sex at least 4 times a week.
Is that your personal rule?
Or is that actually happening?
You're aiming for?
Is that what actually is occurring or is that just your dream?
Chewing it and doing it.
Apparently.
I mean, look, whatever works for you is fine. But I'm just saying, I'm asking, is that what you guys have decided? You're just like every other day? It's just like, hey, look, if we don't go more than a day, I think that's wishful for most people, but maybe not necessarily.
On average, couples in the U.S. have sex once a week or less. So this person's saying they're having 4 times a week. Good for you.
We don't do. I've heard of people as well that I've got actually some friends who they schedule out in their calendars
sex
when they have sex. Yes.
I know other people who've done that before too.
What, you're just waiting all week? Like, Cody's like, I know I'm having sex on Friday. Can't wait for Friday. You guys plan this out?
This has never been our approach. I do know, like there was one guy in particular who reminds me of, they had sex on Tuesday. Like, simply put,
I think the concept is
sex was Tuesday. And so, like, that was the night they had sex. They limited themselves or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Like, they're just like, that's the night, less kid activities, whatever it is. We got it in the schedule. No person is like, I don't think it was like it was off the table the other 6 nights a week. But sex was on Tuesday. That was what they had established as a relationship.
It is a weird thing.
Specifically Tuesday. That's probably why it stands out so much.
It's a weird thing, though, to be scheduling it out in my mind, because, look, you might both, it might be an exciting thing. You're looking forward to Tuesday. But if one of you is having a bad day, you're just not in the mood. And then all of a sudden it just kills the vibe. And,
Someone says Cody must sleep on the couch a lot. Due to my fighting system? No, I don't sleep on the couch a lot. I just think that, I think you can go to bed still being disgruntled.
I think there's a good point in that, Cody, because it's like you're essentially letting them have their own space in a way within going to bed angry. Like you're letting them internally kind of deal with it, and then you can come back to it later if it needs to even come back to it all.
Over on Twitch, they said that maybe this is my unhinged advice, but you probably shouldn't be having enough grievances that you should have to schedule the fights.
Someone says, he's like, we don't plan it out. It's simple. The kids are gone. Let's do it or nap. They said.
Or nap.
We got 2 windows. The kids are not here. What are our available choices remaining? I'm just not much of a napper. So, like, that's just usually, that's not usually my go-to.
I think someone's right, though. Like, the waiting for a month to air your grievances with your wife or significant other, that seems waiting way too long. Let's say you just had the grievance last Tuesday, and you're wait 3.5 weeks,
but
and you're
that's
both
the point. It's
pissed.
like, if it bothers you enough that it's still sticking after 3 weeks, it's deserving of the grievance,
Bottling it up seems unhealthy.
Somebody says one of their piece of advice that they do over on we use YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Facebook. They said one of their things is if they don't like the way their husband is acting like towards them, if they're being rude, they boo them. Just boo! They just start actively booing them in the house if they're being like rude or out of control. No good for you?
That seems no.
This would be like
just gonna boo you? What?
In fairness, if you're getting booed, it makes you not want to.
Not behaving that activity anymore, right? Not act that way anymore.
That just sounds super annoying.
In fairness, I think wouldn't that be the point though, Cody? Like, I don't know if I would do this or we would do this or you and your wife would do this, but theoretically, if something happens and I need to make them feel bad without actually saying it, and I'm tired of telling them this thing, I'm just going to boo them, plain and simple, and I'm going to be annoying till they understand that I don't want this to happen to me, so I'm going to act better so that it doesn't happen.
I also think, here's another one that I think applies to my relationship that I don't apply to everyone. I think depending, because like kids and noise and all this, like you got a lot of things going off. I think it counts as quality spending time if we are simply in a room together and not saying anything. I think it counts if we are simply like a show is on or I'm both looking at we're both engaged in the same activity. Good enough. Like we are spending time, we're not separate. We are spending time together. Words don't always have to be spoken for it to be quality time.
Yeah, the booing the spouse thing, that sounds like, I'm hung up on that. That sounds just like a terrible idea.
That wouldn't work for you.
That's annoying.
Somebody else's relationship.
Probably would not be involved with that person to begin with if that's like their mentality. We're just going to boo each other. That just seems very unrealistic.
But I don't think that's a
like.
Look, I'm gonna be honest. If you're friends with your significant other in a way and you get booed, I think it's not. You shouldn't be taking things so literally, and this is coming from a person who tends to do that sometimes. But doing it like if there's good intention behind it, then I don't think there's any problem with it.
I got to be cool. Like where I get in trouble is if you got to gauge a mood, because I tend to be like a teaser or joke and like if it's not in the right time, I gotta rein it in. I can't just be a constant annoyance.
Yeah, right.
To my wife if like the mood is not because I make inappropriate jokes. We were like in a meeting with school officials for our kid the other day, and I made a joke that did not land.
What are you making jokes at the school, Cody? What are you doing, man?
Dude, what
are you doing?
It was like 3 administrators. I thought I was going to hit, dude. That's a stupid take, and you're a stupid person. It was a bad time. It did not hit.
Up next, we'll talk draft and someone that definitely has great relationship advice. Jay Binkley joins us right here on Cody and Gold.
What's up, Kansas City? This is Vinny Pasquantino, and you're listening to Cody and Gold, weekdays starting at 10 on 96.5 The Fan.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
If you need a new garage door, this could be your lucky day. Entries are open now for the $5,000 sweepstakes at Overhead Door Company of Kansas City. A winner will be chosen at random to receive $5,000 towards new garage doors, openers, or front entry doors of their choice. Deadline to enter is the end of the month to win the $5,000 sweepstakes with Overhead Door Company of Kansas City. Enter now at overheaddoorkc.com. You can't win if you don't enter at overheaddoorkc.com.
Men, is good enough really what you want with your sex life? This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and if erectile dysfunction is making a bad bedroom experience for you and your partner, you should call us because you want your intimacy to be fantastic, both for you and the one you love. At Heartland Men's Health, our treatments have success rates of well over 90%. And because we're a medical practice focused on men's sexual health, we can offer many treatment options and even combine treatments to find the right one for you. Which means if you're like most of our patients, we can likely get you performing like you haven't in years. So make an appointment and make a change from good enough to really good. Your initial visit is just $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600. That's 844-447-6600. Or go to heartlandmenshealth.com. We have 3 offices to serve you. Heartland Men's Health, a Promenic restorative health.
It is one of my favorite times of the year, and you don't want to miss it with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook app. FanDuel is the best place to find all your favorite player props, and you can make an heads-up play with player performance trends. So that means if you want to bet on a player to score 30 or put on a triple-double, you don't even need to leave the app to find out who's hot. Plus, after the game tips off, you can even combine live prop bets into a same-game parlay for a chance to win even big. The NBA playoffs are the perfect time to join, and you can get started with $250 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. So use my promo code KFNZ, go on FanDuel and get started for the NBA playoffs, and make every moment more this spring on FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA, and also 96.5 The Fan. 21 in President, Kansas. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued with nominal drawable bonus bet, which expires 7 days after restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under agreement Kansas Casino LLC. Gambling problem? Get up with your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit kansasgamblinghelp.com.
Storm season 2025 is here. Get peace of mind on the health of your roof and make Century Roofing your first call. We have extended our free material upgrade sale on all roof replacements. Get a Class 3 or 4 impact-resistant shingle for the same price of the standard 30-year or premium shingle. Save on your insurance premium and see why we continue to be voted best of Johnson County. Trust the pillars of strength for 35 years. KC-based and female-owned. Century Roofing, KC.com.
Century Roofing. Trust the pillars of strength.
It's the spring sales event at Rob Sight Ford, and I'm here with the man himself, Rob Sight. Rob, you already stole the spotlight. Now what are you trying to take?
Just your attention, Kevin, and maybe a few trade-ins. Now, we've got up to $14,000 off new Fords with employee pricing, plus our own dealer discount.
$14,000. That's hotter than your Sunday barbecue.
Exactly. And unlike your burgers, these deals won't dry out. We've got hard-to-find inventory, huge trade-in values, and our non-commissioned sales team makes everything so easy.
No pressure, just real help. Even I'll admit it, it's the best place in Kansas City to buy a car, and I don't hand out compliments lightly, or seconds.
That's a fact. And don't forget, we're Kansas City's top-rated Ford dealer on Google. 4.8 stars, nearly 3,000 reviews, and 0 grill marks.
All right, Rob, I'll give it to you, man. You're cooking up some real value over there.
Come see us at 135th and State Line, or visit robsight.com. But hurry, these deals are sizzling and inventory is moving fast.
And tell him Rob sent you. No guarantees, but he might throw in a hot dog.
One of life's greatest mysteries has finally been solved.
Who let the dogs out? Spruce, spruce, spruce.
It's Spruce, the new hard-working, worry-free weed and grass killer that's safe for use around people and pets. When used as directed, spray the leaves for visible results in just 1 hour and dead weeds in just 1 day. You spray, they play. Weeds die by the next day. Find Spruce wherever weed killers are sold.
Have you tried hands-free Skechers slip-ins yet? Because if you haven't, you're missing out on technology that changes how you think about shoes. First, these are not just regular slip-on shoes. They're not just a pair of loafers without laces. But what makes them different is the technology inside that lets you just step into them. There's a built-in hidden shoehorn that slides your foot in, so they look, feel, and wear just like a pair of shoes you're used to. Except you don't have to bend down, struggle to put them on, or touch them. Try them at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
You know what's better than a limited time deal? An unlimited time deal. That's why the Wendy's $5 biggie bag with a junior bacon cheeseburger, 4-piece nugs, junior hot and crispy fries, and small soft drink is available all the time. Because the best time for fresh, never frozen beef and Applewood smoked bacon is all the time. Duh. I feel like I'm repeating myself a lot. For the best deal of all time, gotta be Wendy's.
Unlimited time does not mean forever. U.S. price and participation may vary. Prices may be higher in Alaska, Hawaii, and California and via third-party delivery. Fresh beef available in the contiguous U.S., Alaska, and Canada.
For more than half a century, contractors and trade professionals have relied on WeatherGuard for heavy-duty truck and van storage equipment. Not just to protect their tools, but to protect their professional reputations. Whether it's inside or outside of work vehicles, a WeatherGuard badge means pros can trust that their hard-earned name is in good hands. Since 1968 and every day since, WeatherGuard has been protecting anything it takes to build a professional reputation. WeatherGuard, established in 1968, proven every day. WeatherGuard.com.
Jefferson's Wings, Burgers, Oysters, located in Lenexa and North Kansas City, proud lunch partner of Cody and Gold.
At University of Maryland Global Campus, we give our students credit where credit is due. Credit for deciding in the middle of rush hour traffic to go back and get their bachelor's and a promotion. Credit for managing 3 kids, 2 dogs, and a full-time job to pursue an MBA. And credit for serving in the military by day so they can study cybersecurity at night. For over 75 years, we've been helping students receive the credit they deserve. With more than 135 degrees and certificates, students at UMGC can use prior learning or relevant experience to earn up to 90 credits toward a bachelor's, and graduate students can transfer up to 12 credits toward their master's. At UMGC, you'll find everything from online to hybrid courses and lifetime career services to scholarship opportunities, making your education journey flexible, fast, and affordable. Apply now and save with no application fee. Classes start May 14th. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
Take me out to my TV on FanDuel Sports Network. Yeah, yeah. Royals games, announcers, and more Royals games. Did I mention they have the Royals? Stream now.
What's up, KC? This is Matt Quattrero. On your way home from the ballpark, make sure to listen to Vern's postgame show right here on 96.5 The Fan. I will not be listening.
96.5 The Fan, KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey Sports Station.
One o'clock hour here on Cody and Gold. Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, Drew Nixon, Jay Binkley, our draft insider in studio. We'll get him in on the random question relationship advice at some point this hour as well. But let's talk some draft, man. We were saying this is like final countdown for you. This is it. You had a spreadsheet pulled up over there where like he's either analyzing draft picks. Someone said you were just analyzing different, blends of chew and stuff like that.
Just go into my folder, Alex, and you see what I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
It's right there.
I saw the spreadsheet was up. You were locked in.
It's draft vignettes
locked
for all the
in.
picks. They get all the picks. It's got their everything about them.
All right, so tell us what people can expect tomorrow night from you and Chris. Then we can get into how your final mock draft went. But you guys are on the air tomorrow at 6 o'clock.
Yeah, 1 hour before the draft. So it's a little teaser
That's
hour.
right. It doesn't really start till 7, does it?
We'll have a lot of you guys on and get your opinions and your picks and whatnot. Then we'll go the entire first round at the Landing in Liberty. And then Saturday, Chris and I will be on from 11 till 5. So the entire rest of the
6
draft.
hours.
And then Sunday, another 3 hours, which will be kind of a wrap-up of what the Chiefs did. And we'll probably try to bring on some of the coaches of some of the picks, which we've done in the past. And we're on 3 hours Monday as well. But it's going to be a lot of draft talk, and no matter where you're at, I think NFL Live on ESPN's doing a 5-hour live special today.
Of course.
NFL Network.
Where they draft everybody, where they bring in like the ESPN reporters?
Well, no, but they've done that. They did that last night. It was prime time. They did that last night, but they're doing like a 5-hour NFL Live from Green Bay. NFL Network did Path to the Draft. You're going to see this thing on 3 different networks, ESPN, ABC, and NFL Network, further proving why it's a top 3 sporting event in this country.
Yeah, we don't need to rehash that.
I wasn't here for any part of that
That was
conversation.
that was more of a morning show thing. That was Dusty and Bink were going back and forth about that.
Bob agrees with me, but think about it, it is. I don't care where
It's
you
one-
turn.
it's one of the
People are
best.
talking
It's
about
not about the
draft.
Super Bowl or
Twitter
something
is
like that.
full with the draft. Everybody's talking about the draft. This wasn't like this a couple days before the Masters. I love the Masters, but it wasn't like this before. It just wasn't. This is just a different beast.
Yeah, I guess
This is a totally different beast.
I don't disagree with part of it. I don't know where I'd rank it exactly. I'd have to think a little bit harder about it. But it's one of the bigger sporting events. Binkley, look, maybe I'm out of line here. I don't know. I understand that it's not easy to draft at 31. But I think we also pretend like the Chiefs are incapable of finding stars just because they're picking 31 when there are, 5 to 10 great football players taken. 10%, 5% of the draft every year is taken after pick 31. They're really good, high-end stars in the NFL draft. I think the more bites at the apple they get at 31, the more like it's 6 years in, 7 years in, you should be able to find stars.
It's harder too,
occasionally
because you're essentially drafting second round grade players. Even Veach said there's 12 or 13 first round grades they had on the players, which seemed about right because that's what it was basically in Kansas City, maybe a few more. In the year, a couple years ago when they got Trent McDuffie, they had about 20 guys with first round grades. That's why he started the slip, and that's why the Chiefs moved up and grabbed him because they'd given him a first round grade. But yeah, if you want to make the argument, not a lot of Hall of Famers in that area, because usually Hall of Famers in the NFL draft are drafted early, like 1989. 4 of the top 5 are in the Hall of Fame, but they're the top 5 draft picks. The 1983 quarterback class, when you have all those Hall of Famers. But you don't get nearly as many towards the end, but you can get Pro Bowl players, serviceable players. And I do agree with what Daniel Jeremiah said. Maybe not a ton of stars, but this draft is full of starters.
Yeah, starters is important. They absolutely need that. I'm just trying to think like right now, if you think active players are going to be in the Hall of Fame. Okay, Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes, they were both taken in the first round. Travis Kelce, he was a third round guy. Where was Von Miller? Was he top 5 picks,
round.
top 10 picks? He was pretty high, wasn't he?
Yeah. He was 2011 draft. He's first round. Yeah.
He's probably, right, we agree, probably a Hall of Famer when everything shakes out and kind of goes that way. I'm just like, I'm not even asking for Hall of Famer. My whole thing is like high-end starter. And at 31, this is one of the few. We talked about Joshua Simmons, who I'm not sure they're going to take. I don't think they will.
It's everybody's favorite player.
I know.
That's crazy.
My
Ohio
guess,
State player. Brett Veach has a huge history of drafting Ohio State players.
They're going to
You know how
draft
many
one this
he
year, though.
drafted?
They're going to draft
None.
one. They're going to draft an Ohio State player.
Well, I mean,
this
just saying they drafted none in their history. The
Yeah.
track record of everybody
I know,
picking Josh Simmons. I'm just saying there's a reason for reasons. There is.
Can we admit their history, though? Like,
you guys
I
are
don't
both
care if they didn't.
gamblers, especially you, Alex, and you go by what happens in analytics.
But we can admit, and I think Gold's
Okay.
talked about this with other sports, and this applies. I don't care if they didn't take an Ohio State player in 1971. That got nothing to do with Brett Veach. Brett Veach is 6 years of not taking an Ohio State player. I bet I could find. And look, I'm not
And
even
there's
trying to
certainly
like.
been plenty.
I'm not even trying to knock this down. I'm gonna guess I can find 40 schools Brett Veach hasn't taken from a school. And there's been more players to take out of Ohio State, no doubt about it.
That's the point. Is
But
it's
like-
a program that's obviously very good, and they haven't drafted.
I
but
think the
you're
COVID
right.
times hurt. I think the COVID times
Have they taken
hurt
an
it because-
Alabama player in the last 6 years? That's serious. Have they taken a player from Alabama in 6 years? So we just think they can't take someone from
Ole
Alabama
Miss
now?
they have, Mississippi State they have.
I don't think they've taken a player from Alabama. Have they taken one from Georgia?
But yeah, they've taken Georgia, I do believe.
But to Cody's point a little bit, let's say we're in Denver. Pick a school like maybe Denver's not drafted a Tennessee player in 8 years. Does that mean they just hate Tennessee players?
No, it just depends on
I
how
don't
you
know.
feel
Sometimes it just
comfortable.
doesn't line up on the board.
It depends on how you feel comfortable and how you're
Yeah.
treated at these schools. I've got the cut right in there with what
No,
he said
we've
about
played
it.
it. We've
definitely made a joke about it.
We've
Yeah,
played
he
it.
has.
We've talked about it. You've mentioned on this show about the timing stuff and all of that.
I think a lot of it mattered more during COVID.
The reason why I would, by the way, be totally fine with Josh Simmons. I'm fine with the redshirt year, although there's reporting out today, maybe his agent is pushing it out, but there's reporting out today that he could be ready for training camp, Bink, which maybe changes some team's thought process, which is why, if that's true, if Josh Simmons is available by the start of training camp for a team, then there's no way he's there at 31. There's no chance. If
I
that's
don't
true,
think so.
if that's really true.
Yeah, it goes, why do the Chiefs draft him? Here's a guy that hasn't played since October. Yes, Ohio State's national champions. He didn't have anything to do with it. He didn't play the rest of the season. He didn't play in the playoffs. He didn't play in the national title game. He didn't play in that. So you're telling me you're going to have a quarterback like Mahomes, you're going to go to training camp, and they're going to draft him and say, here you go. Go on and take on NFL defenders, and Patrick Mahomes will continue to run for his life like he did last year. Here you go, rookie. Go do it. That's why they're not going to do it.
All right, so let's go through your latest mock draft. You and Chris revealed that earlier this week. You had your final draft special on Monday night before the actual draft. Tomorrow night in your coverage you guys are going to do. We took a look at it a little bit. Explain how you guys came to pick 31 and a different pick at 31 than we've seen.
Yeah, I felt that our mock draft was a tad disrespected by Drew.
Just call him out. Just call him out.
It should have gotten front billing siren coverage. No
it
tornadoes
did yesterday.
involved.
It got front billing yesterday.
I think it took Alex and Cody to kind
That's
of
for the first time, and I had to like bully you into it.
I think Alex and Cody had to step in there, Drew. You're too busy back there with your blue chew. But the bottom line is, Derek Harmon, defensive tackle, I think you can get a quality player. And that's actually somebody that can help this team this year. For anybody that thinks that the Chiefs can just afford to just go redshirt players, it's not how this works. They need a player that can play right away. They're not good enough to just continue to redshirt players. Yeah, they went to the Super Bowl 3 straight times, but they got to win it. I mean, Philadelphia exposed the hell out of the Chiefs' offensive line last year in the Super Bowl. So this is why I think if you go defensive line, you start building up that defense and you get a Derek Harmon, because I do believe quality players like in running back, wide receiver, and others can be garnered in the other rounds. You don't have to really stretch in the first round unless Luther Burden sits there and slips and slides your direction.
And look, it wasn't a criticism. The only thing that surprised me about your pick, Bink, is that you had 2 wide receivers in their first 5 picks, a tight end. You had it going heavy offense.
I did, because
I do think that they want to get back to scoring.
They've been heavy defense. I mean, look at a couple years ago in Kansas City, only 2 picks were on offense. It was that Friday night when they went out and got Rashee Rice and Wanye Morris. But it's been about defense with this team. Hey, they got to start putting teams away. Even Patrick Mahomes, you talked about there, they want to get back to scoring more points and being more wide open going downfield. You can't do that with the same cast of characters. You need offensive talent infused with this team. I mean, there was a glaring weakness for the Chiefs when they dealt with injuries about having offensive, explosive players. This is what they need. Yes, their defense is fine. Their defense is good enough to win. Hell, you don't need a top 5 defense to win with Patrick Mahomes. You need at least top 15. So, yes, I do believe in offense. Defense, first of all, I had first round going defense. But then, yeah, there's a lot of offensive weapons, including wide receivers, 2 of them, which they've taken that stab at wide receiver one time. Like Sky Moore, that hadn't worked out. That was a one dart. They threw one dart at a receiver and got a good one, Rashee Rice. There was one dart that they would have got a good one. Last year, they just threw one dart at Xavier Worthy, and he's turned out to be good. I'm saying throw 2 darts.
I hear you.
There's no reason why you have the 2-time MVP, 3-time Super Bowl MVP quarterback, and you're not taking wide receivers.
I hear you. We were talking about the decision that you guys had in your mock draft to take 2, and the only thing I would wonder is, with an Andy Reid coach team, are they willing to have basically a wide receiver room with if they take 2 wide receivers, you basically with the exception of Hollywood Brown, there's no veterans in the wide receiver room. Does that you don't think that? You think Andy Reid's willing to go into a season with basically no veterans in the wide receiver room?
Well, he's going to have to at this point. The one thing is, I don't see Hollywood Brown staying even after. I didn't think he'd come back.
I think it's one more year. This is it. Yeah,
this is it. I didn't think, cause that's why Xavier Worthy, we backed off him in the mocks last year. We had him mocked to the Chiefs back in September of last year. And we started backing that off because they got Hollywood Brown. They're the same type of players, so we started backing off that and went to a different style of player. But going forward, what are they going to do? There's no Justin Watson still here. Last year looked great. This wide receiver group, man, everybody was in St. Joe and texting and sharing videos of these bombs, these touchdowns.
It was fun.
Then what happened? Jacksonville happens. Hollywood Brown goes down the first play. Then Rashee Rice gets hurt against the Chargers. You're down your number 1 and your number 2, and you're stuck with your rookie wide receiver and saying, hey, you got to step up. And he wasn't ready to step up until kind of towards the end of the season. This just gives you weapon after weapon if you have to deal with injuries and or suspensions, which you still have coming with Rashee Rice.
I was going through Bink while you were talking. I was like, you know what? Now I'm curious. How often they take guys from other schools. And I'll be honest with you, Other than Tennessee, in which he has taken 3 players from the University of Tennessee. So if you're a Dylan Sampson guy, or
I am.
You're who was the other Pierce, right?
James Pierce.
James Pierce. If you're him,
I hope so.
They have taken 3 Tennessee players. That is the most he has taken from any particular school. He's taken 2 players from 3 other schools, and he's taken either 1 or 0 from every other team in Division I. And so, like, until we can get kind of like a longer sense of it, and it'd be probably better to break it down by conference. If we looked at it that way, is he more likely to take a Big 12, an SEC, a Big 10 guy? Because we could probably get a better sense. I don't know which way it's going to go. I don't blame you on the offense, Bink. I do think that there was an insistence this offseason. I think bringing back Hollywood Brown, thinking Rashee Rice, all this stuff. I think the idea was like, I don't know how you could have Patrick Mahomes and just be like a middling offense 3 years in a row. You've been a middling offense 2 years in a row. You're going to do that 3 times in a row with Patrick Mahomes. It feels like kind of a waste.
One-score games, that you can't always count on that. That can easily go the other direction, and we know that can happen. Like getting that block kick against Broncos. That was great. They did some film study. They got it. You can't always count on that. You got to start putting teams away, and I think they need to. Because, again, they're never going to have a quarterback like Patrick Mahomes in my lifetime. Because guess what? I'm over 50. It's the only quarterback in my lifetime to be like this.
I could probably live another 100 years, and I'm not going to see another quarterback like Mahomes come through. So I don't blame you on the, like, let's not burn it. But also to the same point, you're saying they don't need a top defense to win with Mahomes. Don't disagree. The last couple of years they did because the offense wasn't good. So you better be sure your offensive plan.
The defense did it.
You better be sure. I guess my thing is, like, you better be sure the offensive plan works. Because if it doesn't work, well, then you are running into a problem where you're kind of creating this pressure for Mahomes to be perfect, and that's actually where I think he struggled the most.
Well, who's going to be his guy when you look at every quarterback? Great quarterbacks have their guy, right?
Kelce,
Joe Montana,
Kelce, right?
Jerry Rice, Peyton Manning, Reggie Wayne, Marvin Harrison, Marino, Duper, Clayton. Even going Tom Brady, he had Randy Moss. I didn't win a ring with Randy Moss, but Randy Moss was one of the greatest, if not the greatest receiver of all time. He had him. Who did Mahomes have? Tyreek Hill. Very early stages of Tyreek Hill breaking out, not the Miami Dolphins. He had his most productive year when he was in Miami. He had that. But who's he going to have? Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy? I mean,
I think for this year, it's a good question.
Are you going to waste Mahomes? Are you going to waste Mahomes? Even though they haven't, they've won 3 rings with him. But you can win more with Patrick Mahomes.
Who's going to be this guy of this era? I actually think is a really fair question. It was obviously Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill for the first portion of his career.
Yeah.
All right, Bink, there's the sounder.
Oh, I don't want to hear this.
It's not yours. It's going to be somebody else's.
It's not bad weather out there, by the way.
It's just a mock draft, you know?
Oh, fine. We won't do ours, but
we ran the sounder for yours yesterday.
I didn't hear it.
I gave you a little teaser. We would be doing this one. Luke Easterling from Athlon Sports have not done an Athlon mock at all whatsoever. This is a 4-rounder.
Athlon.
Only 4 rounds?
It's only a 4-rounder from him. This does include a trade for the Kansas City Chiefs, a guy that Bink says there's no chance the Chiefs end up getting. They make a trade with the Minnesota Vikings, move up to 24. They give up pick 95 as well to get Kelvin Banks, offensive tackle at Texas. Speaking of schools that Brett Veach and Andy Reid have drafted from recently, Texas is one of them. Kelvin Banks, offensive tackle.
I do like Kelvin Banks. Again, you're dealing with short arm situations. Vikings do remain a legitimate possibility for the Chiefs to trade. I look at a couple of those teams.
That was a team
in the 20s.
mentioned.
The Vikings, for sure. I think the Rams would do business with the Chiefs because these teams have done business with the Chiefs in the past. Hell, the Ravens and Bills have done business with the Chiefs, so it's hard not to take a look at them because last year I took Buffalo completely off the chart. They're not going to trade with them. But, yeah, Kelvin Banks, a good player.
Second-round pick, a guy that we had yesterday in another mock that we looked at, Azariah Thomas at 63, cornerback from Florida State. And Brett Veach had mentioned corner. It sounded like he was going to draft a corner at some point in the draft. Second round is a little bit too early for you, Bink, or do you like it?
I was going to say, Bink, where are you on corner? Gold is a little bit lower on is it a need? I'm a little higher
I think
of it as a need.
there for this year's draft. I mean, this coming season, they'll have obviously McDuffie, Fulton comes in. They still have Jalen Watson. And after this year, the only guys under contract would be McDuffie and Fulton. You could spend, if you told me next year they have to spend their first-round pick on a star corner, then that's fine. I don't think it's a need. They want to draft one in the 7th round. I'm not going to freak out, obviously.
Well, the one thing about it is it enables you maybe to move Shamari Connor back to just pure safety a lot more.
Yeah.
Put Trent McDuffie in the slot. They've dealt with later-round corners. I mean, it's not like Jalen Watson, by the way, that was a 7th-round pick. You can get guys later on. Now, Trent McDuffie's special. That's why they moved. They had a first-round grade on him. That's why they jumped up to get Trent McDuffie. He's like, oh, my God, this guy keeps sliding. We need to go out and get him. That's why they did it. But, yeah, I have no problem with getting corners as well. And I think they will get one. Do I think they'll get him the first 3 rounds? No.
Again, this mock is 4 rounds, so 2 more picks left as they traded 95 to the Vikings in this one. But at 66, a couple picks later, another Tennessee player, Omar Norman Lott, defensive lineman.
It's not a name I've heard at all.
Yeah.
Can I get a Zerline breakdown of him?
Chris likes him a ton. Chris has actually mocked him to the Chiefs a couple
third
times.
round.
Inucero's done it. Norman Lott's a stud.
Prime third round.
Matter of fact, he might have done a top 30 visit here. I'm not sure. I think
Omar Norman Lott. Projection, you're saying mid-rounds, Drew? Is that where they most
third round is where he has going in basically every single mock, maybe late second.
NFL Network write-up. This is from Lance Erline. We've been doing these throughout the season, mock draft season, that is. So he, round 3 to 4, played in all 13 games last year as a backup. Here's what they said. Can trigger off the snap, disrupt blocking schemes, rarely gives in, plus short area athleticism, pass rush fueled by quick, lively hands throughout the rep, Bink. Weakness, lacks mass, and requires a mighty effort to battle against power.
He was a top 30 visit for the Chiefs. I went ahead and looked it up.
The Chiefs brought him in. These are funny. I mean, it's a lot of fun is going back and look at the weaknesses for like Mahomes.
Oh,
and when you go back and look at Lance Zierlein, we talked about lack of pass rush moves for TJ Watt. I mean, all this stuff is in there. I love looking at these guys that are stars and looking at their weaknesses that people have. But yes, Omar Trent Long was brought in here for top 30 visit. So was Ty Felton, because Ty Felton was the guy I heard it was in our mock draft.
Yeah,
a receiver that I heard you guys discussing yesterday. Felton was actually brought in here for a visit as well.
I hadn't done the list. They pretty much just brought in every offensive tackle who is available in the draft for a top 30 visit. A handful of running backs, and then the rest are pretty much defensive line.
Ollie Gordon came in here for a visit. The former led NCAA FBS in rushing 2 years ago.
Cody,
from Oklahoma State.
Did they bring in Jaden Blue from Texas?
They did not.
Because 4th round pick from Athlon Sports, Jaden Blue.
Okay.
Ollie Gordon's still on the board at this point too. So, but Jaden Blue from Texas. So they double dip with the burnt orange.
They brought in Isaiah Bond, a different Texas wide receiver, but he's expected to go quite a bit later, right? Because of his poor 40 time.
He was the one
He did not outrun Xavier Worthy, it turns out, in the 40. It'd be funny if they were teammates.
He ran a 4.39 at the combine, and he ended up running a 4.35 at his pro day. Bond. It's not
it's not
exactly
even slow, but it's not Xavier Worthy either. You know, it's not a 4. What did he run? A 4.29? 4.21.
He made the mistake of saying he was going to beat that time. It's like, you can't do that.
Didn't you see the latest comments a week or two ago? He claims that, I wasn't healthy. I wasn't healthy when I ran that 40. That's why my time wasn't as good. Don't run it at all.
Bond had some issues, too, that he and his agent had to address.
Well, I saw that. Yes, there's some allegations. That's what you're talking about?
Yeah. So there were some things he had to address, some character concerns.
Yeah, last I saw him, he was being projected in the 6th or 7th. Bink, can I ask you something before we take a break and talk more draft with you?
Yes.
I am a firm believer that the Chiefs do not care about any character concern that is off the field.
No, I don't think they do.
I don't think there's a single character concern they care about off the field. They only care about on field. Like, you don't run your routes hard every time they care. They don't care what you get into off the field.
And it's helped them out. You know, they got 3 Super Bowl rings to prove it.
Yeah.
I love it, man.
High-risk players sometimes, you know?
Why not?
You said you love it?
They take risk on players, and it works usually.
Yeah. So you want James Pierce Jr.
That's who I want. That's who I want at 31, but people will tell me that he's not a good Spags.
Yeah, he's not a fit for Spags. But I will say this, though. I mean, character concerns, I would have taken Jalen Ramsey. He had plenty. And the Eagles took him at 9, where he probably should have been the first overall pick.
He might be a Hall of Famer one day. So, pretty good player.
He was the character concern slide.
Only to 9. Needed him to fall quite a bit further.
The main ones who have the character concerns this year are Mike Green, James Pierce Jr., and Walter Nolan, all 3 defensive linemen.
I would take them all, too.
And players that have been mocked to the Chiefs.
I'd take them all.
Like, at least at some portion of this process. Of course, all of our draft analyst is brought to you by Powell Exteriors, J&M Displays, and the Salvation Army.
All right, coming up next, we'll keep talking draft with Bink. I want to focus a little bit more on the front end of the draft. Just some of the rumors are out there. Also, how much could this Kirk Cousins news today impact the draft? That's coming up next with Bink.
This is Cody and Gold, brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com. Tune in to hear Royals insider Josh Vernier every Wednesday at 12:30.
We need to nip this in the bud. We need to nip
what in the bud? On your home for Royals baseball, 96.5, The Fan.
What's up, guys? It's Drew. I'm going to get straight to the point. If you could benefit from a little extra in the bedroom, Blue Chew can help. You probably know Blue Chew is an online service that delivers the same ingredients as Viagra, Cialis, Levitra, Saxon in chewable form at a fraction of the cost. And your partner wants you to do whatever it takes to make your sex life better. And Blue Chew can be that secret weapon for the bedroom or wherever you decide to get it on. Turn oh no into oh yes with Blue Chew. They're licensed medical providers. They can work with you to find the right ingredient and strength for your prescription. And since they're an online prescription service, you can avoid the doctor's office visits and also the awkward conversations and waiting in line at the pharmacy. It ships right to your door in a discreet package. If you could benefit from extra confidence when it's time to perform, visit BlueChew.com and get your first month free when you use our promo code KFNZ at checkout. You just pay $5 in shipping. That's BlueChew.com, promo code KFNZ to receive your first month free. Then you'll be ready to chew it and do it.
Honey, it's me, your wife. Spring is here, and our house desperately needs the experts at Powell Exteriors Casey for siding, windows, entry doors, beautiful decks, patio covers, roofs, and more. Get ready for summer at PowellCasey.com.
Jefferson's has a brand new happy hour designed to save you money. Enjoy half off appetizers and half off your bar tab. 7 days a week at Jefferson's Lenexa and Jefferson's North Kansas City. Yeah, you heard that right. Half off your bar tab during happy hour at both locations. And it gets even better. Mondays are all day happy hour. Plus, they've got reverse happy hour every night. Whether you're catching the game or just kicking back with family and friends, Jefferson's in Lenexa and North Kansas City is the place to be. Proudly local and always delicious. Jefferson's. Wings, burgers, oysters.
Do you know a coach who goes above and beyond? The Royals, the CU and the Major Leagues Foundation, and Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City are recognizing those impactful men and women. Nominate your high school coach at royals.com/coaches with character.
Living with chronic joint pain is like trying to get comfortable on a cactus sofa. Nothing feels good. And forget trying to do the things you enjoy this spring, like golfing, hiking, and tennis. You're just trying to get by. I want you to know something. The medical pros at QC Kinetics right here in Kansas City are on the case and focused to finally get you the relief you need. They've already treated tens of thousands of patients around the country with regenerative treatments that help calm that debilitating joint pain in your knees, your hips, your shoulders, and your back. With QC Kinetics, the science is solid. They give you your life back without surgery, without drugs, and without any downtime. Curious if you'd be a candidate for these treatments? No problem. The consultation is totally free, and they're happy to take a look to see if they can help you finally get the relief that you deserve. Call now and find out how easy it is to get back to enjoying life without chronic joint pain. Call QC Kinetics now, 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small, loud or quiet. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love, guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Hey, weekend warriors. How's a little trail therapy sound right now? Hop in. Let's go for a ride in the all-new Nissan Armada Pro 4X. Tune out all those work emails and turn up that twin-turbo V6 engine. Instead of letting the kids play online, show them some epic inclines. Turn your 8-person family dinner into an exhilarating off-road adventure. The all-new Nissan Armada is here. Intelligent four-wheel drive cannot prevent collisions or provide enhanced traction in all conditions. Always monitor traffic and weather conditions.
What up, fellow Gen Xers? Elizabeth Banks here. As the original Latchkey kids, we took things into our own hands, like house keys and video game controllers. And now it's time for us to do it again, because the recommended age to get vaccinated against pneumococcal pneumonia has been lowered to 50 and older, even if you're healthy. We're at over 6 times greater risk compared to adults under 50. So go to vaxassist.com and schedule. Gen X, this is our shot. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Well, Hims can help. Through Hims.com, you can get a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. It all starts with an online intake form. Get started at hims.com/joy, and from there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs with options up to 95% less than the brand names. Millions of men experience ED, but Hims can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. HIMS.com/JOY.
Royals coverage sponsored by Renner Garage Door, forward and back, RENNER.
It's almost Andy Reid. The offseason is a perfect time for a $100 tune-up from Renner Garage Door. Get a free replacement quote today. Call or click rennerdoor.com, Renner forward and back. RENNER.
Underdog just became one of the best places to make your entries during these basketball playoffs. If you're watching the games last night, you should try their extender promo. With the extender, you can play your way to increasingly bigger boost with each round of the playoffs. So start a playoff series, choose your game 1, now game 2 boost, continue boosting each subsequent game, and then unlock the next one. The longer the series, the bigger the boosts get. Underdog is one of the leading places to make all your sports selections. So whether you like LeBron to go higher or lower than his points, assists, or rebounds, you choose your favorite players, choose your favorite stats, and then just choose higher or lower on those to make those selections. Millions of fans have already won billions of dollars making plays over at Underdog, so why not be next? Download the Underdog app and sign up using that promo code TAPP, T-A-P-P, to unlock a special offer for up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you make your first deposit. That's promo code TAPP, T-A-P-P. Must be 18 plus and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/extend.html for details. Concern with your play. Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit www.ncpgambling.org.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
Back here, 1 o'clock hour on a Wednesday. Draft coming up tomorrow. That means we got our draft insider, Jay Binkley, hanging out with us in studio. We went over some of your thoughts on pick 31. I want to just talk broader about the draft, and tomorrow we'll do some fun draft prop bets and everything as well. What did you make of the news today, or at least the report from Diana Rossini, that the Vikings, the Browns, the Steelers have been discussing a trade for Kirk Cousins? First of all, your reaction to that, and we can get into, like, does that impact the draft at all? But the Steelers would be the best spot for everybody involved here, right?
Yeah, I think so. And again, I think that could be a move right after the draft. Find out what you get, what you're going to do going forwards, and then maybe Kirk Cousins his value will go up after the draft, because that's when teams start to freak out and they get the last remaining free agents available and make moves, because it's your last chance. Like, you go through free agency, then you go through the draft, you don't have what you need, you got to start doing it because you had OTAs coming up and everything else. But Kirk Cousins, I do think they make a move for him if they don't get a quarterback.
Do you think he's traded this week?
Yes.
You do? Okay.
I do.
See, I think so as well. The Steelers part, what we don't know is, like, is Aaron Rodgers making a decision this week, and he's going to steal headlines tomorrow, and he wants to make sure we're all talking about him, or does he keep on waiting?
Very Aaron Rodgers.
Or does he keep waiting?
Maybe. Again, get that value.
If I'm the
There's going to be a
Steelers,
team without a quarterback.
I think that's why I wouldn't want Aaron Rodgers.
quarterback.
I don't think he actually wants to play football.
But even if teams draft a quarterback, it could still be marketable to have a veteran quarterback like that. So his chances of still being on a team are really great.
Yeah, if I'm Kirk Cousins, and we were discussing it earlier, yes, you want to be a starter, even if it means for X amount of time. I just wonder, if I'm Kirk Cousins, let's say I went to Pittsburgh or any of these teams, Cleveland's not going to draft a quarterback, I don't think, in the first round, but maybe you disagree.
Trade back up.
The same thing could happen to Kirk Cousins again. First, you go to Pittsburgh, Mason Rudolph's not going to take your job. You go to Minnesota, if you struggle for a month, J.J. McCarthy might take your job. You know what I mean? That's what I'm trying to figure out for him, too. What would make him actually want to take that job in some of these places?
He just got to get to that point and just kind of understanding what his role is. And that's that Alex Smith role. You're in your 30s, especially Kirk. I mean, this guy is mid-30s, coming off an Achilles injury that he had where he missed that time. He just got to accept the role that he's got to be a mentor, man. Joe Flacco didn't want to do that. Certain quarterbacks don't want to do that. But sometimes if you want a job at the NFL, you have to assume that role of being a mentor.
What does it do for the draft? Let's say one of these teams does trade for Kirk Cousins. We know Cam Ward's going 1, but where do you actually think Sanders goes? I know you in your mock, we had talked to you the last time in studio. I think you had
Saints.
Jackson Dart going to the Steelers, right?
We had Shador going 9 to the Saints,
Yeah.
and then 21 we had to the Steelers. We had Jackson Dart. Now it could, if Shador starts sliding, you could see a situation where the Steelers, would grab him later on. It is interesting, Jackson Dart, and whether you're putting stock into it or not, he was invited to go to the combine. Or not the combine, the draft. He was one of the invitees. He was in Green Bay. Like, he did show up to do things. Now he's leaving because he's going back to Utah to be with his family and stuff. Now, whether it's a decision, like Will Levis probably should have had the home draft party because he came to Kansas City. Wasn't drafted in the first round and bolted before he was drafted. He was drafted really early that second round, but he bolted Kansas City after that first night. Some guys just don't want to go through that. They don't want to have the green room shots of him sitting there waiting and sliding. But Jackson did pick up, and he's headed back to Utah right now.
Like, I wonder, because if Kirk Cousins finds a landing spot, the only thing I'll say, Gold, is that doesn't mean that the Browns or the Steelers still don't need to draft a quarterback. Kirk Cousins is the short-term Band-Aid solution to this problem. Like,
I think
if you're the
Cleveland
Steelers,
has their Kirk Cousins. Flacco's Kirk Cousins.
And Flacco and Kenny Pickett, they're going to bring in Kirk Cousins on top of it.
At least
weird.
Flacco, hey, say what you want about Flacco. Well, he's got the ring, though. He does. A lot of that was him too. I mean,
Kirk Cousins got more money, but Flacco's got the ring.
He does, and Kirk Cousins has one playoff win.
Like, if I'm Kirk Cousins, like, there is a point of, like, I make enough money, like, I'm done begging for work.
He's been on quarterback twice now. He's got another new one.
This is his last chance to be an everyday starter for a team. He has to find any team, in my opinion, Gold, like any team that will make him a starter day 1 of the NFL season. If I lose my job in 4 weeks, well, then I'm done being a starter in the league anyway. If I keep the job for the entire season because I performed at that level, I might be able to find another job, or they might be able to wait 1 more year before they put in Jalen Milroe or whoever behind me. And I'll just take my chances. I also just think if you're the Steelers, nothing about their plan looks long-term. Pickens and Metcalf and TJ Watt and defense and money and Tomlin, it's like, they should want to win now.
And they go out and get Metcalf.
Like Aaron Rodgers actually kind of makes sense from like a positioning of their team positioning. I don't think they'll win the Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers or Kirk Cousins.
There's no quarterback they can pick for this year that makes me believe that. Sure, there's no quarterback the Steelers can start in Week 1 or at all this year that puts them in the same category as Buffalo, Baltimore, Kansas City. There's none.
No, it's not. It's like this Milroe buzz, and see Milroe starting to gain some steam. Did you watch him play last year? Because when you watch tape and you watch like Jalen Milroe play, you sit there. I remember many times you going back and forth texting people. Can you believe this dude was in the Heisman race? Therefore, because it wasn't good. He was inaccurate throwing the football, and you're sitting there going, "Man, how was this guy even considered a Heisman Trophy guy? He's a hell of a player. He can do things, but is he really a guy that can carry your organization? I don't think so."
Of the second tier guys, what's your ranking on it? Let's just say. I don't know if you agree, but Cam Ward's 1, Sanders is 2. Of the guys below those two, those are consensus more than 1, 2. I know Dart's under 2. Is Dart your next best quarterback?
I put Dart, yeah.
What about in the Jalen Milroe, Quinn Ewers, Tyler Show? He's like Shuck. Sorry.
He's
like 50 years old. I didn't have to learn his name.
He's always on the text line yesterday.
Again, it's Quinn Ewers, man. You talk about a guy that was looked upon being a first rounder, right?
Yeah, he was the number 1 quarterback coming out of high school.
But if you go back, even going back and watching, and a lot of people went back and watched Xavier Worthy tape when the Chiefs drafted him. Watch him sit there and wait on the ball forever for Quinn Ewers. Like, there's so many down the field shots they could have had if Quinn Ewers could have delivered.
Camping?
I mean, it was frustrating watching like Quinn Ewers trying to hit Worthy down the field.
That's
it's amazing
all quarterback
he
play
was
this
still
year,
able to lead Texas in receptions because Quinn Ewers held the dude back.
Isn't there, like, I know that Real quick, going back to Gold, your point about the Steelers and them not taking somebody who's going to put them in a category right away. I mean, I don't think we would have said the same thing about Jaden Daniels or Bo Nix didn't take the Broncos to be at the level.
The Steelers don't have a top 3 pick, though. The Commanders did. Or a top 5
I know,
pick.
but the Broncos didn't either, and Bo Nix, they made the playoffs. I know that they're not in the category.
I don't put but exactly. That's the difference. I'm not saying make the playoffs. I'm talking about win a Super Bowl.
There were 6 quarterbacks taken in the first round, just like 1983. A lot of people don't look at last year's draft with that same ilk, the 1983 class had.
I understand, but if if Jackson, let's say Shador doesn't go at all, and he gets taken as the second quarterback, period, at 21, who's to say he can't be like Jaden Daniels because he's the second quarterback? I know he's not viewed in that ilk, but
Gold has said openly. I think he thinks Sanders would be a better pro quarterback, didn't you?
Yeah, I'm talking about this season. Yeah. There is nobody the Steelers can start that makes them a Super Bowl contender. I get what you're saying. They're like, well, Jaden Daniels came in and played great, and the Commanders ended up being a Super Bowl contender. I'm just telling you, I don't think they're apples to apples because, again, the Commanders were a top 5 pick, and Jaden Daniels was a consensus top 5 pick. Some people think Sanders is a second-round quarterback. I don't, but if you want to say, like, long-term, that none of
Sure.
I'm not saying that none of these quarterbacks in the draft can ever lead a team to a Super Bowl. I'm saying in week 1, if you were to put Shador Sanders on the Steelers, they are not suddenly a Super Bowl contender.
100%.
Like Cam Ward, I would say probably the same thing for him too, although I'd be more optimistic about it right away. But the Steelers, to me, there's not a quarterback they can start week 1 that puts them in the category of Kansas City, Baltimore, Buffalo, Philadelphia,
for sure,
Detroit, etc. That's all I'm saying.
Because we didn't even view Jaden Daniels to be that either. Like when he first came in, it's like, hey, could the Commanders maybe make the playoffs? Like who knows?
Jaden Daniels is a former recruit of Herm Edwards when he's at Arizona State.
That's right.
When he was there. But Jaden Daniels is a special quarterback. Cam Ward.
That tenure ended great.
A lot of people don't realize Cam Ward took a while to develop because he was at Incarnate Word for a couple of years before he went to Washington State. Then he transferred there to Miami. He was at 3 schools. Jaden Daniels was at a couple because he was at Arizona State before LSU. But Jaden Daniels, a special player, and he just knew he was going to blow up.
Any idea, and this is one of those, because we don't have to worry about quarterback, why do you think, Bink, that Ward emerged as the best, the number 1 overall pick? Because if I watch the 2 of their college careers, it's not like I watch Ward and I'm like, that guy's got something Shador Sanders doesn't, other than Sanders holds on to the ball too long, but Cam Ward's got flaws too.
He bet on himself and he won. Not going to draft the year before.
Yeah, that's fair.
And he held out because he knew probably he's going to be the best quarterback taken in the draft. He could have gone the year before, but he goes down to Miami, puts up big numbers with guys like Arroyo and Xavier Restrepo down there, chucking the rock. But again, not a playoff team. Didn't win a national title. I mean, he's the quarterback of that team. But Cam Ward, certainly a good player. I like Kyle Williams, who's one of the receivers we mock, because he played with Cam Ward at Washington State when Cam was there. I mean, this year he's clearly the best quarterback.
I feel like at wide receiver, the only guy I'm really interested in the first 3 rounds is Royals. I was going through some of the lists.
You just like Royals.
That's what it is. He wants a player to be the
Cags, man.
So my whole thing on college wide receivers, and this is probably a bad way to go about it, Bink. My biggest thing for college wide receivers is production. I hate the wide receiver he had 680 yards, but he's a physical freak. And I'm like, I understand quarterback play is really varied in college, and the stats don't always tell the story and all of this stuff. So, I do understand it. But I like college wide receivers who were productive. I think those guys show up in the league and matter, immediately matter.
You have to be careful with that because that's a theory with recruits to college because they may go out and have 600 yards as a receiving.
Yeah.
Why is this guy a 4-star? It's because the quarterback sucks, and he's not going to be playing at Division I level. Seriously, you see so many guys get labeled 3 and 4 stars, and you look at their system, and it might be an aerial quarterback, but so they're running the I formation and handing the ball off every time. But it's the coach in the situation. But they're productive. Kyle Williams is extremely productive, and Ty Felton.
He was too.
Ty Felton was extremely productive at Maryland.
So we've been talking a ton of draft. Don't forget, tomorrow night we're going to all be at the Landing. Bink and Chris will be broadcasting live beginning at 6, an hour before the draft begins. Your chance to win $965 plus a Juwan Taylor autographed helmet. If you can figure out how on earth this first round is going to go, one, is the player getting selected at a certain spot, and can you match up the team properly? That gets you more points as well. So we've talked draft. Right before you came in, we had the random question of the day. You're the perfect person to talk relationships with, Bink,
Yeah,
Cody had a random question of the day. I want to get your perspective specifically on one scenario someone said their spouse and them agreed to, which I think is wild. And that is when they don't like something the other spouse is doing, they boo each other, which is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
It's kind of awesome.
Just walking around booing. Oh,
You've established.
I don't think you would have even been in that relationship at that point to handle that. Like that person just wouldn't have. We would have never got to that point in our relationship anyway.
Every relationship has a different dynamic.
Booing each other.
She goes, I'm gonna go get my nails done. Boo!
Oh gosh!
I just went and spent a bunch of money. Boo! I love it.
What was the question though?
The other one, no, it was like it was what are relationship things you do that like really relate to you? So somebody mentioned that. Somebody mentioned the fact that they just pre-schedule their fights, as in like, hey, once a month we just get together, or every other week. We know we'll keep our grievances together. We'll get to those during the meeting. Right? We know we're gonna have fights, so let's just schedule it. Because then I think in a weird way that kind of works, Bink. Because if you're sitting on something for 2 weeks and it's still bothering you, it's worthy bringing up.
I think people
if you let it go, it's not worth it.
But you might be miserable for 2 weeks.
Someone also mentioned scheduling sex.
I think they schedule sex more than fights. I think that's a pretty common thing. The fighting thing, maybe not, but I think scheduled sex is
as in
pretty
like
much a
this is our day of the week.
Yeah. It's maybe Tuesday or maybe Wednesday.
What Tuesday? Why is everyone have sex on Tuesday? Why is Tuesday everyone's day?
I don't know, but they're
it's like Saturday too busy. We can't. You can't be a weekend.
Somebody that does Tuesdays.
Well, that's what people keep texting in. I didn't know.
Is that something he brought up?
People are claiming Fesco brought this up on his show.
Yeah, it's Tuesday, I think, for Bob.
I got to figure out what that was not the person I was talking about. To be clear, I don't know why everyone universally agreed on Tuesday.
Who the hell else here has sex?
What do you mean? The other people of this show.
On.
All three members of this show.
This station isn't exactly wrong.
Now, there's one person on this show currently that chews it, then does it.
oh yeah, instead of oh no.
He might not have as much as his neighbors.
Yes.
So he might not have as much as his neighbors, but
Turn oh no into oh yes, Bink.
You know what?
The blue chew.
I don't need your blue chew for tomorrow. I'm pretty excited. I usually need it, but tomorrow
you're ready. You're ready for tomorrow.
I'm good.
Needs no extra energy for tomorrow. You squared away.
So I didn't hit you up for the blue chew today.
That might be an uncomfortable show for you if you pop one of those before the show. Actually, more uncomfortable for Chris.
We're gonna be on the air more than 4 hours.
I think
Chris would have to.
Chris, it might be more uncomfortable
things.
for Chris.
Just give people a little preview of the content. So you say an hour leading up to before you start to react. What kind of Chiefs draft content should we expect tomorrow at the Landing?
It's going to be, all right, which direction are they going to go? Looking at the first round, thinking, okay, what takes the guy off the Chiefs list? That takes the guy off the Chiefs list. Who's still available? Because all that stuff changes when you see runs on certain players. All right, now the Chiefs are at 31. Do they need to trade up? Should they take calls to move back? It's a lot of fun when you're watching the draft and seeing what teams are doing, thinking, well, take that off the board for the Chiefs, or that's a viable draft partner or trade partner that they could do. But it's a lot of fun. And I know people had a lot of fun last year at the Landing towards the end, and they couldn't believe, like we couldn't, that the Chiefs traded with the Bills.
I know, once again.
At the Landing.
And Worthy was a really good player. He's good in that playoff game against it. The Bills keep doing it one way or the other. The way I think the biggest run risk for the Chiefs tomorrow is end. Like, they might end up getting stuck with one of, and it's not a bad thing.
I think Drew was saying the other day.
They need both. But defensive end, it does feel like the kind of position, Gold, where you're talking Pierce and some of these other guys. Brett Veach hinted at it when he was talking about the depth of the position, saying there are a lot of defensive ends, but there aren't as many defensive tackles. I think he's saying that because he's kind of afraid of the end run versus this. I think there's a chance that we end up getting that 18 to 25 range where it just goes defensive lineman, with a lot of those ends kind of going to that range.
Yeah, I think for your show tomorrow, if I must give you, if I can, just a little thing for programming, I think whenever the Bengals are on the clock, you got to have Drew hop on and let him sweat the pick with you.
Oh, he did that last year.
I did that last year.
Let him sweat the pick. Get his
and then laugh at him if they take Tyler Booker.
Actually, it was kind of a comedic moment every time Drew would come on because the pick was just absolutely screwed up.
Is Tyler Booker just like your worst nightmare pick?
Yes.
Because we'll do that. We usually do that for the Chiefs, like the one that we're like, God, please not that one. But
remember last year I just nailed you guys on your first round lineman pick.
Yeah, with Amarius Mims. Who's actually going to be. He actually is going to be really freaking good.
Did he start all year?
A couple games. He wasn't great. Even Nick Saban dogged him.
He took over for Trent Brown after he got hurt, and he was fine, but he got better as the year went on.
Sounds like you're describing your Kingsley, but you're feeling way better about it. I got to be honest.
Oh, okay. He wasn't egregious. He wasn't giving up sacks left and right.
He didn't start the job, and then he was okay.
They got to keep drafting offense and not make the playoffs again, Drew. That's a great fantasy offense, man.
I think they might
can't
as
play
well.
defense worth a
I
crap.
hope not. I hope not.
Lean
As
all
I
the way
said,
in.
we're going to be sitting here in November, and
They
everybody's
should take
going
Loveland.
to be feeling so sorry for Joe Burrow, putting up great numbers again, I'm sure. Him and Chase and Higgins.
Chase and T. And
Tyler Booker would be by far the worst case scenario because some people don't even I think it is. Pro Football Focus has him as like their 50th ranked player, and they have him going in the top. All mock drafts have him going in the top 15. There's one guy who does like Bengals specific stuff. He has him as like 112th.
I think
you
the
guys
reason
need defense. You also
First
need
round
to
would be
figure out
crazy.
where you're going to play the following year because you don't have a stadium yet. Still.
I mean, we can't really
They're
talk trash
working
on
on
that
that.
here in Kansas City. You
Wow,
guys-
but the
they're
Bengals are in
working on
worse
it.
shape.
Their
Their lease is
working on it.
actually up.
They're
Yeah.
working on it, Bink.
There was a giant QR code on the side of the building downtown yesterday, like with a letter begging Kansas City to do something to keep them like in downtown and near downtown.
Yeah, local businesses
The
pay
Bengals
for
is
that
coming
Grand
up
Slam
quicker.
banner.
Much
What's that?
quick. Bengals are coming up
Oh,
much
yeah,
quicker.
yeah,
this
for
season.
sure.
Yeah.
Their lease is up.
They might
Rent's
be playing on
due.
the Ohio River.
Next year, they have to come to an agreement by June 30th. Otherwise, the lease is up in
Do you have
2026.
faith in that? Because that Jamar Chase took
We
forever
pulled up the
to
odds,
against
Bink. We
Trey
pulled up the
Hendrickson.
odds. San Antonio and in St. Louis, very big favorites to land Cincinnati.
St. Louis Bengals.
It just sounds gross.
Would you quit your team? Will you come be a Chiefs fan if they leave the city?
Hell no, I'm not
Come
leaving because
on.
I
I
changed
think if they
cities.
If they're the Salt Lake City Bengals, Bink,
that'd be awesome.
then he's all in.
I think
Oh,
they
that
should
would be
keep
tough,
the name Battle
man.
Rocks. If
Dude,
they
you
go to St.
gotta
Louis,
just-
they got to keep the
Hang
name
on,
Battle Rocks.
if they went to Utah, that would be tough.
Drew
man.
hates
It's-
Utah. We've learned this on the show over the last
Look,
month
hold
or
on.
so.
But he hate
He
Utah.
can't stand Utah.
It is a. It's fine. I've been. It's
It is
okay.
it's a gorgeous state, but in terms of it's just it's a no for me.
What the
It's
hell
a
is
no.
wong with Utah?
They don't like enough vices. I like
a
to have
gorgeous
more vices
state.
in my life. But outside of
The
that,
Utah Hockey Club in the NHL?
can't buy beer on like a Saturday, Bink. That's the problem in Utah.
Yeah, it is.
That'd be a really tough turn for you. You just couldn't buy alcohol on the weekend?